In this example, we have a data set for 15 students. We are going to construct and label a box plot for this data. So, you need your calculator. Calculator is going to help us do this. We're going to enter the data in L1. And then, once we've entered the data in L1, we're going to walk through the steps on how to get it graphed. What I'd like for you to go ahead and do is recognize that your data is between 50 and 100. So I'm going to draw a scale separating them by tens. And I'm using a scale of 10 that's kind of arbitrary. You can do it by 5s or 20s. Just something to help me draw it. 50, 60. Okay. So, going to our calculator, I've entered the data in L1, so if you need to pause the video to enter your data in L1, do so now. Okay, data is entered in L1. Make sure you double check it and everything's entered correctly. Now we are going to press second y equal. That gives us the stat plot function right above the y equal. We want stat plot 1. It's already highlighted, so we're going to press enter. And see how it's flashing over the on? We need to turn it on, so we're going to press enter, and now our graph is on. Page down, it goes to the different types of graphs that we can choose from. We want the box plot, so we're going to page over, highlight the box plot, and press enter. We have to use the right and left arrows here to page from one of these graphs to the other. So, highlight that one, press enter. Now, the X list, that's what list we're choosing from, and it defaults to L1. That's the list we need, and we always want our frequency to be 1. For our purposes, it'll always be 1. One thing I would like to point out is if you are taking an algebra class or a calculus class, when graphing in those classes, make sure your stat plots are turned off. Otherwise, that'll mess up your algebra graphs. Likewise, if you have something graphing on the y equals 2, let me get out of this. If you have something in your y equals, then those values will mess up your statistical plots. So make sure you clear these when you're graphing your stat plots. So let's go back into our stat plot one more time. Run through that again. We're going to press enter. We'll highlight on, press enter, page down, and then we have to use our right and left arrows to get to the correct one. It's the bottom middle. Press enter for that histogram. Sorry, not histogram. Box plot. And then page down, we want L1, frequency list. Now we can press zoom. And sometimes it happens. If you're on Zoom, it gives you this funny function down here. You don't need these. What you need to do at this point, if it gives you this, is just quit. So second and then mode to give us the quit function. Now press zoom, and what we want is zoom 9. You don't have to actually page down to the 9, you can just hit the 9 button, but I want to show you what it says. It says zoom stat. So we're going to do zoom 9, and there's our graph. Now, we're going to use our trace key. Notice when I press trace, it came up with my median value of 80. If I page right and left, it shows me my Q1 value. Left again, my minimum value. So, minimum, Q1, Q2 are median, Q3, and the maximum value. So to sketch this, we want a graph that looks as close to this as possible, and that's why I made my scale on the previous slide. It's not going to be perfect, but it will be close. So let's go back to our scale, and it told us that our median minimum value was at 52. So I'm going to put a little bar at 52. And then my Q1 was at 64. That's a little bit below half. Again, I'm drawing this by hand, so it's not going to be perfect. Q2 was at 80. Q3 was 89, so right below 90. And then our maximum value was 95, so in between 90 and 100. Now, our middle values should make a little box. And again, not going to be perfect. And then, the reason why this is sometimes called our stem plot, box and stem, because we have little stems on the end. So, now we have it drawn, we need to label. The labeling is important because otherwise this doesn't really mean anything to us. So we have a minimum of 52, Q1 of 64, Q2 of 80, Q3 of 89, and things are starting to run together, so I'm going to put my maximum value down here below of 95.